What's up, YouTube? So yesterday we got the truck running. Today we're gonna realize we haven't gone through and found out all the issues it has. What does work, what doesn't work? Does the AC work? We know the radio doesn't work. Does the fan work? Does it drive? So that's what we're gonna do today. Side note, we should probably check under the gas tank to see if everything's spilled out. Looks dry to me. Cool deal. Let's start her up. You started yesterday. What'd she do? Definitely sounds like we have a vacuum leak. It's telling me we got low gas. What do you know? 1 gallon is not enough. So, see, neighbors around these parts like to go outside. So, whatever. Let's try the horn. Horn works. All right, cool. Let's try climate controls. Come on, climate controls. What do you do? Is that max? Oh. Oh, oh. Oh, God. Okay, there was a lot of crap in those vents. Also, this truck has a unique feature. The air conditioner makes the, crappy tent blow in the wind, so that's nice. Although I gotta say, that is ice cold air conditioning. So air conditioner works. This truck just became worth about $1,000 more. So I'm gonna take these out. Get out of here. Look at it, they're so old, they're yellow. I'm pretty sure these come white. Holy. Dash is a little loose. Well, let's see if we can find one of those at a junkyard. Okay, so the air conditioner works, the cold works. We know that the heat's not going to work because the heater core is just completely bypassed, and that's not good. So you know what? Instead of letting this just run, I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood, and we will purge the air out of the air conditioner and hope that there's not a leak. Let's do that. All right, so we're ready to drive it. We're not going to take it very far. Once again, we're on like 16-year-old tires, and we have maybe a gallon of gas, maybe a gallon and a half. So we're just going to take it around the block because I've been told the transmission doesn't work. So obviously that's a problem. But before we take off, let's look at the gauges. Oil pressure is okay. Voltage is good, so we know our alternator works. Oil pressure is good. We definitely, I'm gonna throw some more gas in it because now I know it doesn't leak, and we are getting up to operating temperature. Haven't been idling too long, so I think it'll get up there where it needs to be. Dang it, my sock keeps get on there. Sorry about that, my sock. Hopefully my camera doesn't roll around. We're gonna take it down the street and see what it do. Okay, it shifts into gear smooth, so I don't think I did some research on these trucks, and they're known to have control solenoid, the governor solenoid goes bad, and then they won't shift past first, or they'll hang on second, or things like that. So the fact that it shifts like from park into reverse, into drive, and it doesn't go clunk, that makes me think that it's probably that solenoid. So I already bought that solenoid because I kind of assumed that was the issue, and yeah, so I'm stuck behind the mail truck. All right, let's give it a little gas. There's a mail truck, and immediately in front of the mail truck is a Toyota Sequoia just going 4 miles an hour with its flashers on. So I don't know what's going on. I've yet to have it shift. Okay, get out oh, it's a Highlander, excuse me. Wait, it just shifted. No, it didn't. So we're still on first. All right, speedometer does not work. Okay, let's see if I can give you guys some footage of the cluster. Auto lock works. Normally I think it would shift by now. Nothing. No shifting. All right, well, then definitely we're in drive. We're not in first or anything. So, hello, Sheriff's Office. I'm not driving a car with no tag or insurance. Don't worry about me. Let's get on home now. Get on home, boy. All right, but overall, turns good. Power steering works. Has a weird grinding noise. That might be from the exhaust, though. No, that's not the exhaust. That's something in the suspension or the brakes, maybe. But, well, she drives. She drives. On to the next thing. We're gonna drop the transmission pan and replace the why am I talking? We're gonna drop the transmission pan and we're gonna replace the governor solenoid, and there's a the pressure solenoid. I think that's what it is. So we're gonna do that tonight, and assuming it doesn't rain. So let's get that done. You know, on a quick side note, we noticed earlier that the heater core was just bypassed completely, and that explains this mess. That is water. So most likely this truck has a bad heater core. It's like a $40 part, but it's a multiple hour job, but I'm willing to do it. So we'll probably tackle that, and I mean that you can't, this liquid on the ground tells me right now heater core is probably bad. Plus, why would anybody bypass it otherwise? So we're gonna probably wind up replacing the heater core, but first we'll get that transmission solenoid taken care of, and if it drives good after that, we'll go on to the next thing. Stay tuned. All right, so once again, we are in the garage that is dark, and if you're wondering what's going on with the Acura, let me show you. We have, like I said, catastrophic engine failure, not engine failure, idler pulley failure. So here, you can see we have this is the block, and this is chipped, and how that happened is that O'Reilly sold me the wrong belt. They sold me the belt for the base model. I don't drive no base models, the top S. And the difference in the two belts is about what, like an eighth or a third of an inch. It's less than an inch. So it fit, but it fit super, super tight. And I didn't know that there was an issue until my belt snapped a few days ago. Went to replace it and found that the idler pulley bolts were also snapped inside of the engine. So I guess it was putting too much tension on the whole thing and just snapped everything. So I got the bolts out. I am gonna have to probably re-thread. I'm gonna tap and die the threads on the engine block, and I have the new bolts coming in, and hopefully we can just put all that in and fix it. But if not, me and O'Reilly's gonna have a talk. But that's why we're going to AutoZone, because that's a problem. So anyways, moving on to the truck. All right, so let's step over here to our toolbox, and we got everything we need. We have 2 gaskets, and I don't know why there's 2 gaskets, because I know there's only 1 gasket for this transmission. It may be one for the 46E and 47E, because I know there's 2 transmission models that kind of are similar but not exactly the same. We got a filter, of course, because we're gonna change that, of course, when we drop the pan. And then here, this is the transmission speed solenoid. TCS75, I believe is the part number, or SU3319. It's the speed sensor for the transmission. So that's probably bad, and it's maybe transmission doesn't know how fast it's going, so it doesn't know to turn. And maybe that's why the speedometer doesn't work as well. And then we got the, this is the transmission governor, and this is TCS75, transmission control solenoid 75. That's a great I like how they name their stuff, nice and easy. Filter, gaskets, and then we have 7 quarts of STP ATF 4 plus, or ATF plus 4. I did a little bit of reading and it said make sure that you do put the plus 4 in your Dodge truck. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna record the whole thing step by step, and there's a reason for that. It's because there's an excellent video that I've already found that I watched, and I will link to that, and we'll just do it that way. But first, I'm gonna do some reading and find out why the heck I got 2 gaskets. All right, and if you're just following along, you're not doing this job yourself, let me show you what we just did. We have removed our transmission pan specifically so we can replace this guy right here. That's our governor solenoid. Oh, might help if I point at it. So we can replace this guy right here, our governor solenoid, and this guy right here, which is our transmission speed sensor. And one of these is bad, or both of them are bad, which is causing our transmission not to be able to shift most likely. We're also going to replace this as our filter while we're at it, but in the meantime we're just going to sit here and let this thing drip so I don't get transmission fluid in my face. I have tasted it before. It's not my favorite dish, so we'll just let this thing drip for a while and we'll come back to it. So here we have the inside of the transmission pan, and something important to pay attention to is this magnet here. It looks really clean actually. It doesn't look, I mean, yeah, there's gunk on it, but the pan itself doesn't look too terrible. Well, now that I say that, it definitely had some crap on it, but it wasn't too bad. And looking in the pan, we're going to look for shades, metal shavings. Is that some right there? Maybe. We're looking for metal shavings, swirl marks. Honestly, it doesn't look too bad. So I think what happened is the last person that changed this transmission fluid, I think what they did is they just changed maybe the gasket and the fluid, but they didn't mess with those sensors. At least that's what I'm hoping, because if I put in new sensors and that doesn't fix the problem, we got something else major. So what we're going to do now is continue to let our inside of our pan, or inside of our transmission, drip into that pan, and we are going to clear off this gasket and scrape it nice and clean. We'll clean this all out, and then we'll be ready for the new gasket, and that'll be next. So as you just saw, we cleaned out our transmission pan, got everything nice and smooth as can be. It is not perfect, but it is miles ahead of where it was. Cleared out that magnet and sprayed the inside. Of course, we soaked all that gunk up, cleaned the exterior as well. We could have just left that, but it'll look nicer, and we'll clean those bolts up too, because they were really nasty. And I didn't have to use a gasket scraper at all, because that gasket was like new. So I talked to the owner. She said that there was a transmission flush, or a friend worked on her transmission in 2014, and she doesn't know what all she did to it. So I think they changed the fluid and the gasket and maybe the filter, and hopefully they didn't change the solenoid and the governor, or the governor solenoid and the speed sensor, because if they did, that's not our issue, most likely. So we are just going to carry on and carry on. Hopefully this fixes the issue, because if not, we'll be stuck. We'll have to figure it out. Let's go. Okay, now we have cleaned off the transmission pan, and it's ready for its new gasket, and the transmission is done dripping for the most part. We are going to go ahead and remove the old filter and remove the body that holds the 2 solenoids on, or the solenoid and the control module. So we will do that next. Alright, so we replaced both of the solenoids, the solenoid and the speed module, whatever you want to call them. Solenoid and the transducer is what they are. We replaced both of those. It was really not that hard at all. To remove the pan was I'm doing this by memory, so if I'm wrong I'll throw a notation up on the screen. To remove the pan, it was 13 millimeter bolts for the pan. To remove the filter, it's 2 T25 Torx bits. To remove the governor and to remove that body that I just kind of moved it out of the way, the control body, whatever you want to call it, the valve body, control body, whatever you may call it, that was 4 11 millimeter bolts and 2 T25s, and it all just came right out and went right back in. It was very simple. One thing to note is when you are removing, if you're removing those solenoids, you want to, or when you remove it, you want to make sure to put them back in facing the right way. They both have collars, or the metal plate that you remove to get to them has collar on it, and it will hold both of them in place. And you want to make sure that you're not having to force it, because if you have to push really hard, you're not doing it right. You should be able to just slide it in nice and easy. So if you have any resistance at all, there's probably something wrong. That's what I experienced. So just make sure you're doing that. And again, I'll link to this video I watched that was like a professional explanation of it, and that'll be better than I could ever do. All right, so next is to put the pan back on. After we clean that, we'll clean the underside of the transmission. We'll put the pan back on with the new gasket. We'll fill it up with transmission fluid and see if it shifts. So we'll have it drivable by the end of the day, if this is the issue.
Bad solenoids, bad. All right, so just got done with bolting transmission back up. So I will give you the torque specs, and I'm doing this by memory, so if I say something wrong, you might want to look it up to just be safe. But the bolts for the valve body that the solenoids were connected to, there's the 2 screws. Those were 25 inch-pounds. Those were the screws, excuse me. The T25 screws, those were 25 inch-pounds. Then the 11 millimeter bolts, there's 4 of those. Those were 100 inch-pounds. And then for the transmission pan itself, it's a sequence. You start with 6 foot-pounds, and you go like crisscross. So there's 14 bolts total, which takes a while, but start with 6 foot-pounds. You go all the way around, starting with the innermost bolts crisscrossing and going around. Then you go from 6 foot-pounds to 9 foot-pounds, then you go from 9 foot-pounds to 12 foot-pounds. So my arms are killing me because tightening 14 bolts 4 separate times, because I had to put them in and then I had to tighten the torque. Whew, a little tired. So, but we should be ready to put transmission fluid in, and hopefully our problems will be solved. So let's do that now. You guys hear that vacuum leak? I hear that vacuum leak. Well, looky here, folks, as I was waiting for it to warm up, noticed a pretty significant coolant leak, and I followed the leak right here. There's no clamp on there. Lucky for me, I noticed that when I was editing last night, and I got these. I got you this time. All right, so she took every bit of 7 quarts of transmission fluid, and we fixed a leak that we didn't even know we had, so that was helpful. So now, real quick, I'm gonna clean the crap off the driveway. We're gonna go for the main voyage. All right, guys, it took a lot of work, but we got that transmission taken care of. Hopefully, it's time to take it for a drive and see if it works. And for this special occasion, I donned my America shirt. But you know what? I feel like something's missing. So we got to go the extra mile so we can drive this manly Dodge. We got the America hat. Now we're good. Let's get in this truck. Let's get in this truck and go for a ride. All right, guys, we got her to run, but anybody can do that. That's not that big of a deal. We didn't anticipate having any major issues with that. But now we got to find out, can we get her to shift? So let's see how she does. Well, she starts. That's a good start. Pull that parking brake because I said it earlier so I didn't run myself over. I know you need gas. You're an American truck. You always need gas. Moment of truth. I'm going to pay attention to the road. Was that a shift? Was that a shift, boys? Yeah! She shifted. Let's get a repeat of that just in case it was a fluke. Oh, she shifts. We done it. She shifts. That was a shift. Hello, officer. All right. She shifts reliably. Let's get her back home. Every shift makes me happy. All right, I gotta take this hat off. It's killing me. Oh. All right, so she shifts. That is a huge plus. That was the issue. Was that transmission control solenoid or the speed sensor solenoid? The speedometer still doesn't work, so I didn't think anything when the transmission would fix the speedometer. So we still got to deal with that. We still have a heater core that's bypassed, so that's gonna have to get fixed. Or it doesn't have to. I guess we could just give it back without heat, but I'm not gonna give this truck back to a lady with no heat. We'll have to get that taken care of as well. But right now it's drivable. Throw some tires on it and a tag, since it hadn't had a tag in 4 years, and she's good to go. And I am super excited, and the owner's going to be excited too. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and if you did, like, share, subscribe, make a comment. I appreciate you guys. Take it easy.